The pungent and sickly smell of Polar Springer, that vile southern concoction, and the general aroma of the fetid humid biome awoke her from pleasant daydreams of cold city nights and bright red brain poppers. The rattling of the coaster's haphazard construction provided some relief to the constant swaying of the lakes. Sylvia knew a rift jockey had no place sailing the New World. Her stomach was proof enough. As she came to her senses, she pondered the disgruntled geezer who was already halfway through the can of Springer. He had no reason to suspect her. They were hours from reaching her rift, and Bart had no idea about the malfunctioning suit. Yet malfunctioning it was. Rift harness suits were an elaborate and complex thing, and she was sure a man such as Bart, a simple-minded New Worlder, could not judge the integrity of the suit, could not tell what all her peers would be able to discern at a casual glance. She had tried numerous times to understand what it was that kept it from crossing the rift. She had switched the ether burner, requested a new aid-eye, and even managed to get her hands on entirely new full thread. Nothing worked, and she kept nodding along to her superiors as they shipped her off to what was supposedly her greatest moment. Weeks had gone by of obsession and rigorous system checks, of reassuring herself that whatever this was a minor issue, just about to be resolved. Any minute now. The time she had was coming to an end. There were a few dwindling hours to figure out a solution, either cross the rift or figure out an excuse as to why she can't even try. A jockey who doesn't make it to a rift is a fool. One who can't ride is a needless liability. She knew too much. Hours passed, and the puzzle of the suit remained the same. She had gone through the bug fixes, her bug fixes, over and over, line after line, movement after movement in her usual ritualistic fashion. She gave up. She could not sink to the rift, and its eerie glow was beginning to seep through the cabin windows, becoming more and more apparent as the coaster raced along parallel to the muddy shore, ever closer to that purple horizon. Through her panicking and analytical thoughts, she had made her decision. She would abandon ship, both on her prospects of riding this particular rift and on this very literal ship paddling along to her grave. Poor simple Bart would take the fall. She knew the punishments both for herself and the old ferryman should the rift not be closed, a reprimanded rift jockey and a dead coaster. While the suit would not sink to the rift, disallowing Sylvia of its more esoteric advantages, she had gambled her fate on its more simplistic strengths, and on her own naive bravery. Sylvia would trek the New World swamps back to civilization. Summoning the upper-crust indignation of her upbringing, she acted out what she would say to her superiors. It was the coaster. The simple bastard took off without me. They wouldn't believe the words of some foul New Worlder. Not above her, they wouldn't dare. Why would a rift jockey refuse to go? This was her honor, the privilege of the worthy. She would lose her chance to ride and become an unreliable liability, a death sentence in her world, all because of some broken garment or buggy software. No, that won't be me, she told herself as she put on the suit and walked towards the stern. For a passing moment, she envisioned the fate of the coaster sailor. He would be tried for a crime she would swear he committed, a crime he would be innocent of. He would die. His family would lose him, maybe even starve. She dwelt on this for seconds. The moment passed. Resigned to this path, she faced the lake. Like an open gangrenous gash, it was ripe with sickly yellows and vivid green tones. Clumped-up vines gathered above the thick opaque water, producing a crimson-tangled goo that gradually dried from its exposure to the sun. These lumps were presumably ejected into the water, when mature as many could be seen slowly dyeing the lake in their gory visage. This was as far removed from a rift jockey's life experience as one could imagine. Sylvia stepped over the railings. She knew for certain this was the only path. However, a life of wealth, numbers, and a maddening obsession with the rifts and their old-world secrets did not prepare her for this baptism of filth. Shaking, she took in a deep breath and held it as she let go of the steel bars, her last grasp of anything man-made for quite a while. Feet first, she took the plunge into the muck of the New World.